Well, Bull, it is 24-0.
Hey.
That was one of the ugliest halves of football I've ever seen. We're going to do a full post-game show, don't worry, but after the catastrophe that was the first half of a meaningless Browns-Bengals game, I figure I had to hop on with Adam the Bull here and spend a few minutes talking about what we just saw. And not much good, Bull. Not much good at all.
Nah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but.
No. But it's funny because, well, first of all, I picked the Browns in my weekly picks to cover. I thought the Bengals would win the game, but I thought it would be a close, low-scoring game. And, I think I undervalued that the Bengals are still a pretty good team. Even without Burrow, they've played pretty well. They're not as good, but they've played pretty well. And they're going with starters, and their starters are much better than the Browns, backups. And the Browns are doing what we expected them to do, not play most key guys. I mean, the only guys that have played at all that I didn't expect to play were Ogbo, right? But I understood why he was playing. They explained it before the game. That makes sense.
Ford and Kareem Hunt both suited up, which I did
right, but they barely played, those two guys. And what's his name? Martin Emerson has played in this game, I think. They listed him as a starter.
I don't think he –
They listed him as a starter. Now, maybe he didn't play, but they had listed him as a starter when they gave the lineup. I haven't really noticed him out there. But most of there's not – and none of the only starters that are playing are guys that are starters due to injury and played late in the season, or guys who are just not very good.
Yeah, no, it's been hideous. I'll be totally honest, guys. I put the Cavs on my big TV and put the Browns on my laptop midway through the second quarter.
I didn't realize the Cavs were playing right now.
They're playing Wemby. And they're winning right now. Oh. But this has been hideous.
Why would they have scheduled this game as an afternoon game?
I don't know, because the NBA is dumb. But I did a little stream this morning, Bull, and I gave 4 bold predictions. You ready to hear these bold predictions?
Yeah.
Because none of them. And I got to go in 1 second.
Oh, your food's ready.
My food's ready. So I had to run and get that. Here.
Where the hell are G and Earl? Where are they?
Let me get my food real quick. Bull,
go ahead, folks. It's ugly. I didn't think it would be this ugly today. But, don't get worked up about it. And by the way, if the Browns do lose to what looks like it's going to be Houston next week, I like the Browns' chances of winning against Houston. But if they do lose, they didn't lose because of this stupid game. I could see that already. I could see already if the Browns lose, people, no, they rested their guys. I'm telling you this is going to happen, Mike, that if the Browns lose next week to Houston, which it looks like Houston's going to be the team they play. Now, I think the Browns are going to win. I'm very confident the Browns are going to win, even though Houston was my last choice. I still expect the Browns to go win in Houston. But there's going to be a segment of fans that are going to rip Kevin Stefanski for not playing guys. Meanwhile, you look at the Detroit Lions, who had little to play for today. They weren't locked into a spot like the Browns, but had little to play for, couldn't get the number 1 seed.
They could have got the 2 seed, though. They actually did have something to play for. They could have had the 2 seed.
Yeah, but they're the 3 right now.
Yeah, but for a team that has Jared Goff, who has home road splits that are so drastic.
I hear you. I just don't know if I'm taking that risk for 2-3, but okay. But the bottom line is Sam Laporta got carted off, and now one of their second best passing game weapon may be gone for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's going to kill him.
That's true. All right, Bull, so you ready to do these bold predictions I made before the game that
bold predictions before the
game. Terribly wrong so far?
Yeah.
I said Pierre Strong was going to run for more yards today than any Browns running back had run for in a single game this season, which was 107 yards. He had to get to 108. Thus far, nowhere close. I said Jeff Driskel would run a touchdown in from beyond 5 yards out. Jeff Driskel has taken quarterback play 88 years into the past. I know he's barely been here. He's got no chemistry.
In fairness to him, he's got no talent with him. I mean,
I get it, but it has not looked good whatsoever.
Yeah, P.J. Walker would be just as awful.
I have people tweeting at me saying I miss P.J., and I have a hard time debating that. So
no, that's ridiculous. P.J. Walker would be just as bad right now.
I know, but I'm just saying, you watch this, and it can't get much worse. Yeah. I also said Alex Wright would have 3 sacks. I actually think Alex Wright played a pretty decent first half. He actually had a ton of pressures. Give kudos to Jake Brown. He's more agile than I thought he was. I wasn't aware that he was as nimble as he was.
Yeah.
But I thought he'd have 3 sacks, and I thought Ronnie Hickman would have a pick 6. And so far, not even one of those looks like it's remotely in the realm of being a possibility.
No.
So,
well, I mean, in the second half, we'll see.
It's not halftime. We're only going to go till the end of the half. By the way, we're going to do a full.
Yeah. I didn't know. I saw the game action, but I didn't realize it was
just showing highlights. We're going to do a full post game show, guys. But I know Bull doesn't hop on the post game show, and this there may not be anything better to talk about than what we have so far. Bull, on a positive side though, from the Browns.
Yeah.
For me, it's Alex Wright is the only guy who I think has stepped up. Has anyone else on either side of the ball played a game that?
And this once again, it's not
Yeah.
fair. But like we asked the question this week, how would Jim Schwartz do if he only could use backups? And this just shows you why the players. We get hot and bothered about coaches, and it's not enough of a sample size. It's a half of football in a game that doesn't matter, but it matters to the guys who are playing. A lot of these Browns players who are playing are fighting for roster spots next year or looking for a job. They may be out of the league if they play terribly today.
Yeah.
So it matters to those guys. It doesn't matter in the standings. And so that's why the players ultimately are way more important than the coaches. People get so ridiculous about how important the coach is. Like, I don't know, there were a couple of idiots on our show that had Jim Schwartz as one of the 5 most important people on the Browns this year.
You know what else?
And Jim Schwartz is really important, and he is a really good coach, but he's not more important than the best players.
Well, do you know something we have to talk about real quick? And we'll talk about this in depth throughout the week. But that first interception, the first pass attempt Jeff Driskel threw.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I didn't think Tillman even realized the ball had been thrown. We had G and Tyvis going back in the group chat trying to figure out what happened on that miscommunication, whether they didn't finish the route or not. But this is now with 3 different quarterbacks. We've seen some sort of miscommunication or lack of cohesion between their third-round pick, Cedric Tillman, and whoever's throwing the ball. And it's kind of a big deal as we get to the playoffs now when you have to really trust and believe in guys to make the plays when they're counted upon.
Yeah, I mean, it is a problem because he's, your third, in the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to have Elijah Moore back, and it's good that he's back. Technically, he's active today. I don't know if he's played at all.
On the field yet.
But you want all hands on deck, and Cedric Tillman's really your third receiver. And I'd still sign Jarvis Landry even now. But, I don't know what he was doing. You say you thought he didn't know the ball was going his way. I thought he stopped to argue about a pass interference before the ball was even caught. It looked like he was complaining to the refs. I don't know. I guess we'll try to find out after the game what actually happened. But that was a weird play. He's got a lot of work to do. He has a lot of work to do this offseason. There's some ability there, no doubt about it. He's got great size. But he can't be making these kind of mistakes.
Well, I just go back to the 4th down throw against the Jets. There was clearly some miscommunication. Tim Couch kind of outlined what the quarterback's expectation for a receiver is on a route like that, especially on 4th down. You go back to the Bears game, the first or second interception Flacco threw, it clearly was a miscommunication between Flacco and Tillman, and based on their reaction on the sidelines, it looked like Tillman had run the wrong route. What's up, Earl? And then
look at Earl showing up.
And then today,
now.
You get to that same point, and the talent is there. I mean, he's physical, he's fast, he's athletic. But and if this was week 6, it's not a big deal. But at week 17, getting ready for the playoffs, when he's going to be counted on to play a real role, I don't know. I don't know if it can be fixed in a week. Is my point, I guess.
No. Earl, we're talking about Cedric Tillman on that first interception where it looked like Mike thought he didn't know the ball was coming. I said I thought he was arguing with the ref about a penalty before the play was even over. But whatever the problem there is, as G pointed out in our text group, and Tyvis, he didn't finish his route. And we've seen this a few weeks in a row. And Mike was just asking, can it be fixed in a week? I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
I mean, this is something he's got to fix in the offseason.
Yeah, I really think, honestly, he's losing playing time come to playoffs. I know it's not the NBA, but I think I would have to believe that once you get to this point of the season, that the targets is going towards the dudes that you can count on a little bit more. The playing time is going towards the guys that you can count on a little more. And he's had a couple weeks in a row now to kind of, get this issue corrected, and he hasn't. You go back to the Jets game, that 4th down in the red zone, if he just crosses the defensive back's face mask, that's probably a touchdown. So the route running is an issue. That's something that he's definitely going to have to work on for the rest of the season and in the offseason. I heard Bull say that he would still sign Jarvis Landry. I think that Andrew Berry probably should really consider signing another wide receiver for depth purposes, if it's Jarvis Landry or somebody else. But clearly, Cedric Tillman is not ready for this, and it's okay, right? He's a rookie wide receiver. Maybe we was expecting too much out of him to begin with, but dude needs to get back in the lab and kind of get it together. But I think that
Don't you?
what just continue to rely on the dudes you've been relying on. Cooper and Njoku and more sprinkling that in there when you can.
I mean, don't you think Jarvis even sitting the whole year if he's in good shape? And somebody texted me or sent me an email or a message. No. Wait a second. It was Bernie. What am I talking about? Bernie said that he's been in touch with Jarvis or saw him or something, and he's in great shape. And I don't know if he said it on the show or he said it on the podcast with me. I can't remember now. But at the nobody's expecting Jarvis Landry to play a ton of snaps. But if you could bring in Jarvis Landry, you telling me he can't run, 15 plays a game?
No.
At least, whatever. I mean, those 10 routes he runs will be better than anybody, anybody else that's your third op or your fourth option behind, Cooper, Njoku, and more. So I'd love to have Landry, or even if it's not Landry, some other veteran that can run you a few routes. So I'd like to see it. I don't know if they'll do it, though.
It'll be interesting. Now, with the Browns game, they're down 24-0. If you want to pay your attention and turn your attention to the Jaguars-Titans game bowl, if the Jaguars win, the Browns travel to Jacksonville. If the Jaguars lose to Tennessee and they currently trail 21-13 at halftime, the Browns would travel to Houston. Yeah. We all said on Friday, given the choice, we'd prefer to play Jacksonville. So we need the Jaguars to come on a little bit of a comeback here in the second half. But the Titans came to play, and Vrabel's a dog when it comes to these underdog situations. But I'm really hoping Trevor Lawrence and company can find a way to put at least 20 points on the board in the second half and stomp out Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's close. I mean, Houston, C.J. Stroud right now is playing way better than Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's not even close. And what's amazing is that Lawrence has better talent around him, right? I mean,
at least healthy talent now.
Yeah, I mean, Houston lost their best receiver. They didn't have Noah Brown yesterday. And plus, Houston just can run the ball better. Since they put Devin Singletary in the lineup, they've been running well. Now, I don't think either of these teams are very good defensively. I think Houston's a little better than Jacksonville. I don't think either are very good. And ultimately, I think I am expecting the Browns to win next week. But we got to be realistic. This is the NFL playoffs, and Houston and Jacksonville are both pretty good teams. Like, it's not crazy to think they could beat the Browns. I mean, even if you like the Browns, what do you like them? 60% to win? This is not some 90% situation where you're playing the Panthers. But the Texans are it's a big difference. I think if they play Jacksonville, it's like a pick-em game. If they play Houston, I think the Texans are favored by 3. And let me say something here real quick, because I got people ripping me, saying, oh, good win by the Bengals. Like, I didn't even say anything about the Bengals. What are you getting on my case for? I even said this week that I wanted the Bengals to lose because I wanted them to have a better draft position. But I will say that I like that they're playing hard. I think that shows some character as a team, that you're playing hard when the season's over, a team that's been to the playoffs the last 2 years. But you can't – let me just say this. For the last few years, I keep getting the stat about Kevin Stefanski's record against the Bengals. And I said, well, you got to take one of those wins out because, the Bengals didn't play their guys 2 years ago, and I keep getting ignored. So if we're going to take this one out, which I think you should, then we also got to take that win out at the end of the 21 season. But I don't care. I mean, you think I'm giddy that the Bengals are beating the Browns? I don't care.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Don't be jerks.
Earl, game's back on, so we got to end this last question. But give me one player you're looking forward to seeing what they can do in the second half for the Browns. Offense, defense, take your choice. But one guy to key in on the second half.
I'm gonna continue to key in on D'Anthony Bell, man. I've been liking what I've been seeing from him for the last couple of weeks, and I continue he's played hard. I know the defense overall has not played that great, but him and Alex Wright, those are the dudes I'm still looking at.
Awesome. All right, the game's back on. We'll be back for the 2-minute warning show. That was Jamar Chase's 100th catch of the season. Bull, thanks for joining me. Earl, we'll see you
guys
at the 2-minute warning show. Win or lose, it'll be quick, but let's go Browns. Let's hope it's a massive comeback in the second half.